Now, I think it's fair to say that we live in an extremely consumer-driven society. So this idea of reducing consumption, of simple living, minimalism, whatever you want to call it, can seem a bit counterintuitive, a bit strange, but I want to share with you today 3 stories that will hopefully get you thinking about reduced consumption and how it can play a positive role, both in terms of sustainability and a happy life. So my oldest brother Dan had been living and going to school up in Ottawa, and one year he invited my younger brother Nicholas and I up to spend our March break there, back when we were in high school. Plan at the end of the week was that we were going to take a train back from Ottawa to Stratford, Ontario, where our mom was going to pick us up there and return us to our rural existence. So we get our bags packed at the end of the week, and we go to the bus stop that Dan, told us to go to. He had to go to class or somewhere, so couldn't join us. But he told us. He said, take this bus, and when you get to the Via Rail station, get off there, and you'll be all set. You'll have lots of time. Perfect, no problem. Piece of cake. No need to worry. So we hop on the bus, and one of the things that kind of separated us from the rest of the Ottawa citizens was the strange luggage we were carrying. So Nicholas, in his arms, was carrying a giant TV. I shouldn't say giant, but one of those old school TVs with those picture tubes that stuck out about 8 feet, and it weighed 3,000 pounds. Now, the reason he had this was because Dan had it in his house and was going to throw it out, send it to the landfill. But Nicholas said, no, I'm going to take this and use it for video games. And that meant that I had to carry some of his other items that he couldn't carry because his hands were full of a TV and he had his backpack on. So that left me with two rather unusual items. The first was a fairly large stuffed gorilla that Nicholas had won the night before at one of the carnivals that was going on in Ottawa at the time. And the second item was a set of these bamboo blinds that were rolled up and wrapped in string, and on the face of the blinds was this picture of our favorite cartoon at the time, Sailor Moon. Yeah, I know. As the bus continues to drive, we're on a keen lookout for the rail station, and much to our horror, we see it, and we see it fly by. And the bus did not slow down at all. So I immediately realized my mistake and frantically rang the bell, requesting the bus to stop. But it was too late. Our stop had gone, and we were on our way to the next one. So I'm worried, but I checked my watch, and we got 20 minutes before the train is due to depart. So we're okay. So the bus meandered further and further away from our stop, and I don't know who designed the bus stops up in Ottawa that time, but it seemed like they were way too far apart. And so as the bus is trucking along, Nicholas starts to notice the concern on my face. And he had been leaving the responsibility of getting off to his trusted big brother. Fair enough. And so he gives me kind of a quizzical look, and I look at him. I look him dead in the eyes, and I say, in no uncertain terms, I say, when this bus stops, don't stop running. Now, of course, Nicholas has a giant TV in his hands. I have a gorilla and a set of bamboo blinds. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to do sprints carrying a TV or a gorilla or bamboo Sailor Moon blinds. It ain't easy. And we realized this very quickly. So as we're running and huffing and puffing, it's very clear that the TV is starting to take its toll on Nicholas, and I start to outpace the guy, and I'm running as fast as I can, and screaming at people in the street, where's the train station, and they're pointing me the general direction. So I'm running and running and running, but then the unthinkable happens, and the strings that had been rolled up around the set of blinds started to unravel, and were dangling as I was running along, and they got wrapped up in my legs, and so now I'm running with my legs tied up in these strings, and now my strides are cut in half, and these strings are just digging into my flesh. I look like Harrison Ford from The Fugitive, trying to escape that train when he had those leg shackles on. Of course, I was trying to get to a train this time. Anyways, I wanted to puke. I wanted to die. I just wanted to take that train. Somehow we make it. In the nick of time. That train was moments away from departing. I got on board, was sure not to throw up on the security guard's shoes, and we headed home. Now, this whole experience taught me a valuable lesson about the importance of traveling light, and how material things like a TV or a gorilla or stupid Sailor Moon blinds can really weigh us down and hold us back. So maybe you postpone a trip because you just bought a second car and you can't afford it now. Or maybe your dream of traveling out west and living out west is complicated with the fact that you've got a house here filled with lots of stuff. The fact of the matter is this: it is tough to catch your train when you are carrying a big TV, a gorilla, and your legs are tied up in Sailor Moon paraphernalia. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of this idea of living light to live free. Whether it's debts or just a lot of stuff in your life holding you back, the idea of reducing consumption can be a real gateway to living a freer and happier life.